So welcome back to channel Level 1 Triple M here, and today we're taking a look at one of the best controllers that I've probably ever used. This is a Beiton Zeus 2. This is Beiton's flagship macro switch elite game controller, which is compatible with your PC, your Nintendo Switch, iOS mobile device, Steam gaming, as well as your Android device. Now this has a lot of cool features. This does have a 1000 milliamp hour battery, motion control. This is also fully modular, comes with 3 different size joysticks, modular buttons as well. Those are all replaceable, vibratable triggers, 6 shortcut or programmable keys, and it does have an audio jack built in. So this video we're going to quickly unbox it, look at some of the features, get into the software. And big shout out to Beiton for sponsoring this video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so we're going to quickly go ahead and get this out of the box. Looks like everything is pretty much in Chinese, except for right there you can see it does say Beiton. Straight ahead you're going to see that they do have the controller. We're going to take that out, just put it to the side for now. So it looks like we have a user manual or quick start guide. This again is in Chinese, so probably gonna have to look other places for instructions. We have another card basically telling you how to get the information, so visit the website. There you can find different manuals and so on and so forth. So nice that this is included. That way if you saw the original manual you didn't freak out. This of course is gonna be the main USB cable. So this is not only going to charge the controller, but this is also going to provide connectivity to your PC. Definitely does not feel like a regular cable. It does feel pretty thick. You can tell it's made from good material. So this is going to be USB-C to USB-A. And length, I would say it's about 4 foot or so. Right, so in the box we're going to have a lot of different components, replaceable parts. So we'll get into the different modular pieces here in a little bit. Here's a look at the actual controller. So feels really good, nice and weighty, so a nice weight to it, really comfortable. And you can see the default sizes are on, which you can go ahead and swap those out. So nice feel on the buttons. These are mechanical, you can hear them. And of course, all of these parts are swappable, and I'll show you how to swap those out in a little bit. Of course, we're going to have the sticks right here. These are going to come in 3 different heights, 6mm, 8mm, as well as 10. We do have the replaceable D-pad. So I'll show you how to swap the D-pads out here in a little bit. Also, these are mechanical, but they do have different ones that we'll be swapping out as well. So at the top, we're going to have the back start button. We do have an AI button, which we'll get into some of the features here. XYBA, LEDs all over, and once we turn that on, you'll see. On the bottom, you can see we have a function button, we have a profile button, 3.5mm headphone jack, and we do have the switch for the gyroscope. That way you can use the actual built-in gyroscope to do certain things while you're gaming. We also have 6 programmable buttons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 buttons that you can go ahead and program in the software. And we do have the trigger stoppers right here. So if you see right here, these are all the way down. But if I put the stoppers in, you can see that one stops, I would say about 30 or 40% versus the other one. So you see how far that one is down. Put it back on, it goes all the way down. Now while we're on the triggers, let's talk a little bit about the technology built in. Now the triggers do have Hall technology built in, which means that it is driven by electromagnetic induction. So pressing accuracy is going to improve to 0.01mm fast response time. Also with this technology, you are going to have more longevity. So the triggers are essentially going to last longer and remain accurate over time. Now while we're on the trigger, let's talk about the vibration that's actually built into the triggers. Traditional controllers will have vibration on the actual grips. With the Beiton Zeus 2, vibration is built into the triggers. This is going to give you better grip. This is going to give you better vibration effect. It is going to lead to more immersive gaming. We also have the on and on switch on the front, USB-C for charging. We do have our standard triggers right here. All right, and like I said, this feels pretty good in your hands. So another thing I wanted to mention, this also has a cover. Comes with a plate on top, guys. All you got to do is just pull this off. This part comes off. Now you're exposed to the main controller itself. And this makes it easier to do certain things like switch out the D-pad. So to get the AXYB buttons out, got to stick your finger in here. It does have a little tab right there that you can pull on, so pull on it, both sides, and you can see that essentially comes right out. So this is the standard mechanical buttons, as you can hear, versus this one. All right, so this one is a lot quieter. All right, so here's the original. And really just depending on your preference. Let me go ahead and put these back. And of course, to put it back, all you gotta do is just slide it in, press it down, and you're all set. Same thing with the joystick. These are replaceable. Like I said, you just pop those out. Easy to really put it back in. All set there as well. All right, both of them pop off same way. All right. Of course, the D-pad is going to be the same thing. Pops right out. And like I said, they do have different D-pad. This one feels like plastic. This one's more of a metal steel. To put it back on, it tells you which way the top is actually facing, so you know how to slide it in. So I'm going to get rid of the plastic one. I'm going to put the metal one in. And again, you can kind of see which way the arrow is pointing. Put it on this way. This one definitely has a magnet, been magnetized. All right. So pretty straightforward. Put that back in. Flip it on. You're all set. We do have these as well. This one is plastic. This one is metal. This one has a sleeker texture on it, so smoother if you like sliding back and forth, while this one has more of a abrasive surface or a less smooth surface. And this one is the metal one, so I'm going to go ahead and put that one in as well. Also very important that if you're planning to use this guy, you cannot get the shell on without removing it first. So you will have to actually pull this out, put the shell on, then find a cutout, put it back in, and you're all set. The last thing that we really haven't talked about is the actual USB. Again, this is going to be for your PC gameplay or your Nintendo Switch. All right, so let's go ahead and power it on and kind of see what it looks like as far as the LEDs. Power switch is going to be right here on the top. All right. You can see it is booting, different colors flashing, and we are going to go into the software where all of this is going to be programmable. Now, as I mentioned before, they did provide a nice card with all the information, how to get the manual, how to download the software. Basically, you go over to the Beiton website. On the website, you're going to have different versions for different operating systems. So you're going to have Android, iOS, as well as your gamepad assistant. So the gamepad assistant is what we're going to need to go ahead and do certain things, customize the RGB, program our customizable buttons in the back. So it's going to have a lot of cool features, and let's go ahead and get that installed. Once you get that installed, you are going to need to connect your controller directly to your computer using the provided USB cable. So let's go ahead and do that now. And here we are in the controller. So a lot of different settings. First thing up top, you can see you do have configuration for your PC as well as your Nintendo Switch, and you can switch between both of them. You do have your battery indicator as well. Further down, you do have a couple different settings that you can play with. You do have breathing mode for your RGB. You do have the color, so you can go ahead and, let's say I wanted to change this to yellow, I can go ahead and do that. You can see both the controller as well as the main display up here did turn yellow. Let's play with a couple different colors. All right, so that's your green, hot pink. All right, so I'm just gonna leave it right here. We're gonna confirm, and you can see we do have LEDs here as well as in the middle. All right, so different RGB settings. We do have the brightness as well. So let's go ahead and turn it up. You can see that got a lot brighter. Keep in mind that the battery life will be affected depending on how bright you have this. You do have some vibration settings as well, so you can turn it all the way up. I'm just going to leave that as default. Below that, we have our somatosensory sleep settings, so you can basically adjust which stick and the interval that you want to be able to wake that up. We do have our left and right curve, which we can set the sensitivity. You select the stick, you select the delay, feedback, customize it. So a lot of different settings there. You can change it to immediate, you can change it to smooth. I'm just going to leave it at default, but just know that those settings are there. To the right, we do have the configure system. We also have the option to restore default, and we can apply our changes to the controller. Below that, we do have our programmable buttons. That's going to be these buttons in the back. So that's where we can actually go and adjust those programmable buttons. So basically you can set it to do whatever you want to do, not just the programmable buttons. So programmable buttons are going to be down here. You can see M1 is set to A by default, but I can go ahead and change it to whatever I want. We do have our basic buttons as well that we can go ahead and adjust. Our joystick, so specifically if we want to do some mapping, adjust the axis, you can see we have a nice display there where we are, so we can do some fine tuning right there. We do have ability to map our sensor. We do have mouse settings, so you can use this as a mouse as well, guys. So you can essentially use this as a controller, a mouse for your PC. You can determine what the left click is, determine what the right click is. If you hit the function key, remember the function key is right here on the bottom. Click on that. It did vibrate, and now I have a pretty good mouse mode where I can use it to control the PC. Over to our function. So this is where remember that this does have a 3.5mm headphone jack in the bottom. First option is sound, so you can adjust the sound. Right now it's all zeros by default, but you can go in, you can change it to pop, dance, jazz, whatever the case is. Or you can essentially click right here, you can do a custom adjustment. That way you can adjust whatever you want. But you also have different profiles that you can adjust this with. So right now we're playing with profile number 4, but if you want to go with profile number 3, you can see that's a different setting that you can play with. So maybe you have multiple folks that use this controller, you do have different profiles that you can adjust. Just for the price and everything that you get, this is pretty awesome. You get full control of this, not only within the buttons itself and the joysticks, different heights, but also LED controls. You have controls of every button. You have control of when this is put in the PC mode. Just a lot built in, and I think this is a great addition to this controller. All right, so the next thing I want to test is just the input latency for the different ways of connecting. So I do have it connected via the dongle currently. Then we're going to switch over to the cord, and then we'll get over to the Bluetooth connection. So let's just see what kind of latency we're getting connected via the dongle. And let's go ahead and start testing. And this is going to be 1,000 sample rate, by the way, guys. Minimum is 3.2 milliseconds. The maximum is 51. And the average is about 7.6. Let's switch it over to the USB connection. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. All right, so you can see a lot faster, a lot of threes in here. Minimum is 3.2, maximum is 35. Average is about 4.2. So decent speeds there. Let's go ahead and test it with a Bluetooth connection. All right, so I am in my Bluetooth pairing settings, and we're gonna go to add device. All right, so to get this in a pairing mode, you wanna hold the function button on the bottom. Then you wanna hold the right bumper, and then you wanna flip the device on. All right, so you can see it's flashing rapidly. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add a Bluetooth device. All right, so what we're looking for here, guys, is the Xbox wireless controller. We do see BEITONG right here, but that's mainly for the keyboard functions. We're gonna go ahead and hit Xbox. So now we're connected and we should be able to use this. Now let's go ahead and we'll test the input lag for the Bluetooth connection. Just like we did with the others, let's go ahead and we'll try this out. All right, so you can see, of course, we have some outliers. The minimum is 0.06, maximum is 69 milliseconds, but the average is around 6.8. So one thing I want to mention is that while you're in Bluetooth mode, you will lose functionality to the 3.5mm jack as well as the AI button on the controller. So take that into consideration when selecting how you want to connect this to your device. We do have 3 options, like I said: Bluetooth, the dongle, as well as the USB. And just for comparison, I did the same test with the Xbox controller, both wired and via Bluetooth connection. The Zeus 2 wins in both categories. On the graph, the lower the number, the better, of course. So on the wired connection, the average on the Zeus was 4.2 milliseconds, while the average on the Xbox was 8.2, almost doubling the time. On the Bluetooth connection, on the Zeus, it was 6.8. On the Xbox controller, it was 13.8. Again, doubling the latency, thus making the connection a little bit slower. So let's go over the overall gameplay experience while using this remote. So I already let you guys know that the remote is extremely comfortable, versatile. Love the fact that I can do a lot of different things with it, including changing the look and feel. Connecting to the Nintendo Switch, 3 basic methods, guys. You can connect via Bluetooth, you can have a wired connection using the cable, and you can also have a connection with the wireless receiver. So just keep in mind that with the wired connection, you will need an OTG cable, which is not included in the box. The cable is basically USB-A to USB-A female, and that allows you to plug in a dongle. So overall experience, really easy. Felt good having a full controller with the Nintendo Switch. Of course, this was a similar experience on my PC. I am playing on Steam right now. I didn't have to do anything special for the controller. It did recognize it right away. And again, overall experience was really good. Vibrations was really good, and I do have the adjustment in the app itself. Felt really natural, and I love the fact that it did have the trigger stoppers, and that way I can essentially fine-tune my gameplay. The Summer Tilt sensory also worked really well. Flip the switch on. Now you have full motion control to navigate certain games, certain situations. You can see it does a good job tracking my movement, whether it's left, right, up, or down. Now, as I mentioned, this does have the world's first AI integrated gameplay with the AI button dedicated on this controller. So what this does, it allows you to take screenshots, record videos, record game highlights moments with one click. Now, this is in its infancy, but we should see more upgrades via the OTG in the next coming months. Now, with all the features built in, this controller has a lot of bang for the buck, guys. When you think about it, does have replaceable D-pad with different types. Also have different AX, BY buttons that you can go ahead and customize to your liking. LED lights built in, placeable joysticks, different heights. Also has motion sensor profiles, worked with your PC, Nintendo Switch. And the fact that you can do so much in the software just makes this completely worth it. Now, the original price on this was $139.99. However, with the 20% coupon code that I'm putting in, plus an additional 5%, you can now get it for $104. So again, big shout out to Beiton for sponsoring this video. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.